All right, guys. So I've been teasing this for a couple days now, but there's a local news outlet in Tampa Bay, and they're talking about Luigi Mangione, and I'm surprised at how YOLO this segment is. This is some shit that I would have never expected to see on local news. So let's watch, and then we'll break it down.
Just a few hours ago, the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson pleaded not guilty to New York State murder and terror charges. If convicted on the state charges, Luigi Mangione faces a maximum sentence of life in prison without parole. Federal conviction could lead to the death penalty. And the high-profile assassination of Brian Thompson has prompted a visceral reaction among many, including a senior citizen in St. Pete. His ongoing health struggles and denial by his insurance company have him speaking out tonight.
Just the fact that they're talking about Luigi and they were like, let's go talk to somebody who had their claim denied. Number one, that's a good thing to do. Number two, I am shocked that they did it. I am shocked.
How can you deny me when you know I'm suffering?
He has a famous name and a familiar story.
A great, great singer. I like him.
But this James Taylor is no musician. He does know a thing or two about inventions.
I've had 4 U.S. patents.
And what he views as insurance injustice.
The pain brings tears to my eyes.
The former bodybuilder and powerlifter,
I've never drank or smoked in my lifetime,
is battling a debilitating back injury.
I've got 2 files right here that I work on every day. Cleveland Clinic.
Taylor says his Medicare Advantage insurance company refuses to pay for the surgery his doctor says is needed.
And they deny it.
By the way, this is very similar to what Luigi Mangione was dealing with. He had some debilitating back injury that was so bad that according to people who knew him, he couldn't even have sex because it was so bad.
His doctor says is needed.
And they deny it. Keep on denying it.
That denial of coverage struck an emotional nerve after the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Sorry. It's time to stand up.
While Taylor says he feels badly for Thompson and his family.
Number one, of course, it's wrong.
He views suspect Luigi Mangione as a folk hero who targeted the wealthy and powerful.
It kind of resembles like a modern-day Robin Hood. Now that they've got number one is gone, over the hundreds of thousands of lives that have already been lost because of neglect. These are the opiates. This is the oxycodone that I take.
Without surgery, Taylor says he's become addicted to prescription opiates.
Here I take up to 4 a day, and it all can be corrected and fixed. They won't let me get off of these drugs.
Taylor says it's cheaper for his insurance company to keep him addicted to opiates than paying for surgery.
The opiates, the morphine, the Oxycontin.
For him, failure is not an option. Taylor spends his days deep in medical records and watched by his loyal dog. He wishes insurance companies were more loyal to the patients responsible for their enormous profits.
All of their lives are in danger. But how about the lives of the people that are dying in the hospitals? All the people that are denied, all of the people that don't get the medical treatment they should, a lot of them die.
James Taylor isn't giving up his fight, but he and his pharmacist are concerned with the amount of opiates he is taking for pain right now. He tells me he would gladly stop taking those drugs if his insurance company would, quote, let my doctors fix me.
Bro, what did we just watch? Look, I have no idea what this guy's politics are, none whatsoever. But if we're being honest, demographically speaking, old white man in Florida, that is very likely to be a Republican. And you have very likely Republicans saying shit like you just heard right here. Like, yeah, no, of course murder is wrong, but also this is like, is a little bit of a folk hero, is a little bit of a modern day Robin Hood type shit. Like, what about all the people that have been victimized by the health insurance companies? This is what he's saying. This is what he's saying. We all knew how real this shit was when apparently over on Facebook, United Healthcare posted basically like this memoriam thing for Brian Thompson, the CEO who was killed. And the reaction of the people on Facebook, it was like way more laughing emojis than it was anything else. And remember, Facebook is not a bastion of leftism. Facebook is a bastion of boomer conservatives, right? Like, that's what it is. Facebook leans massively to the right. It's older folks on there. And that's the reaction. So you're telling me that Republicans and MAGA and conservative grandmas and these sorts of people are reacting like this? I mean, I think that says a lot, bro. I think that says a lot about where we are in this country and just how broken the system is. When the people, again, statistically, demographically, it is that sort of group of people that is most likely to be a status quo defender. The boomers, right? They're most likely to be status quo defenders. And in this instance, they're like, nah, son, this shit's got to change. This shit's got to change. It's got to change. We can't leave it as it is. We can't have medical bills be the number one cause of bankruptcy. We can't have health insurance companies denying necessary surgery because they'd rather throw opiates at me for the rest of my life. I don't want to take opiates. I don't want to be clogged up and unable to shit and constipated 24/7. I don't want to be all hazy in my mind. I want to get off the opiates and I want to get the back surgery done where I can actually live and have a decent quality of life. Bro, this is how you know. This is how you know. This is serious, right? This is serious. When you have this much consensus among the actual people, it's serious. Everybody will tell you murder is wrong. Duh. That's not difficult. Everybody will also tell you the nature of the system as it exists right now is organized violence against regular Americans. And that's the part that usually they don't want to tell you. But this is local media actually doing that. Now, by the way, I'm not done yet because I got another one for you. So that was local news in Florida, Tampa affiliate there. Now we have on MSNBC. Listen to this segment.
You can't even understand your medical bills when they come in the mail. I was looking over one of mine last night. I don't understand what they're talking about, what fees, what's covered, what's not covered, what they decide to cover later on. I had an emergency appendectomy last year. It was $90,000 according to NYU. Insurance came back and said, we're not going to cover any of this. We don't think she needed an emergency appendectomy. Ultimately, NYU had the fight and they covered it. But why does it have to be a fight? Why is there, what is the deal with this discrepancy? Why do health insurance companies have a say in whether something is necessary medical care, Dr. Patel?
Why does it have to be a fight, she asks? Profit. Profit. These are corporations. They are trying to make a buck. How do you make a buck if you're a health insurance company? You charge people a lot on the front end, you price gouge them on the front end, and then on the back end, you try to deny care as much as humanly possible, wherever you can. To the point where they've gotten so greedy, they'll say your emergency appendectomy was not necessary for you to get that surgery. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
This goes back to kind of how health insurance has been administered and kind of regulated in this country. There's a cap, what we call a medical loss ratio, on the profit that any insurance company, not-for-profit or for-profit, can make. And so in order to kind of contain costs, Katie, you see what we call utilization management measures, things that happened like in your case, as well as simple prior authorization or denials for a prescription that I might write, for example. So these are all really crude kind of machete-like mechanisms to cut down costs, plain and simple. And it's been long-standing. This isn't new. Many of us who are physicians have been kind of vocal about how they're not effective and trying to move for policy changes on a national basis. Medicare is responding, but Katie, probably not fast enough, as we've witnessed.
I mean, look, I've had conversations with doctors where they say dealing with Medicare is so much easier than dealing with these for-profit private health insurance companies, that like it's way more paperwork, it's way too obnoxious, it's not simple, it's always a fight, always a battle. I've had conversations with my own doctor about that, where she was like, I can't, like, there are times I've had to argue on the phone with an insurance company for a necessary procedure. And it's like, is this how it should work? Is this how it should work? Should we have a mafia middleman that's axing people's necessary health care? Again, Luigi better get a jury trial, because if he does get a jury trial, man, there could be some interesting outcomes coming out of that. Because there's this thing, I'm sure all you guys know it, it's called jury nullification. And the idea of jury nullification is, even if you acknowledge and admit that a law was broken, a jury has the right to say, we don't really care. They have a right to do that. And so in the case of Luigi, will they do it? Maybe. I don't know. It's also possible that they find him guilty, but they give him like on the lesser end of the amount of time he would otherwise get, right? Although I don't know, I think it's like terrorism charges. So the lighter end is probably not so light anyway. But I mean, look at the conversation we're now having. Did you guys know that healthcare now jumped up from the bottom of issues that Americans are focused on? It's now like number 2 or something. It was way down and then it hopped all the way up to number 2 because people started having the conversation again about, I think everybody just was sort of like angrily, casually accepting with tremendous hatred in their heart that like this thing is so fucked and nobody's ever going to do anything about it. But with this happening, it jumped front and center again to a top issue. So now people are actually having the conversations. Look at this nightmare story. Look at that nightmare story. Look at this person who died because they couldn't get the care. Look at this person going bankrupt because they had to pay out of pocket or whatever the fuck is. So again, these conversations happening are, I never in a million years that I think we'd be having these conversations in mainstream media. But we are. That local news segment was devastating, bro. Devastating the way that they're talking about this. And I'll take a guess. Whoever the advertisers are for that particular local news outlet in Tampa, it ain't the health insurance companies. Because if it was, I don't think that segment would have ran in the first place, dog. I don't think it would have ran in the first place. But anyway, here we are. The dialogue is now moving forward more aggressively than I thought possible. And hopefully it can lead to some kind of reform, some kind of change. Because clearly the way it's going is just, it's unacceptable and it's unsustainable. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.